Thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce in the topic. And I was actually during the last 2 days looking into how to explain the change in perspective on bioeconomy over the last, from GBS 2050 to today. And I was actually looking before into the motto which was there in 2015. In 2015 it was about how to do a sustainable bioeconomy. And today we are talking about in the GBS 2024, we're talking about solutions using bioeconomy. I think that's a very, very important step in the change in perspective. And if you look into the program, I also changed the title of my introduction, moving from promises to impact. So bioeconomy is promising a lot, but we also ask, this is about impact and generating opportunities, therefore providing pathways. And essentially what we do in many cases, we are trying to look into how to bridge the valley of death. And this is not the classical valley of death of technologies. There's much more, because as you see down here, we talk about a solution readiness level. This is not necessarily only technology. So just to keep it in mind, this is what's going on. If we look at this in the title, we still have implementation of the bioeconomy. I would like to rephrase that, because what we essentially should ask, and I used some analogy to some time when politics were still inspiring. So my fellow bioeconomists don't ask how bioeconomy can be implemented, but ask how bioeconomy can contribute to transformation. And this is this guy who said that some time ago. As I said, there was politics that sometimes can be inspirational. At the moment it's a little bit obstructive, but hopefully we go in this direction. So it's really the question of how can we contribute as bioeconomy to the transformation. And this means that we should start from the why. We should not say, we have a technology, this is implemented and you have to do that. Because we should start from the why. We should ask, what is the reason why we do bioeconomy? So we want to go from global goals to impactful transformation. And I don't list all the global targets. You all know them. We've talked a lot about them, SDGs, Green Deals, whatever. In many cases, what we see, if you want to implement bioeconomy, there's a huge diversity on natural resources, on the innovation landscape, on markets, on human resources, on legal aspects, which are very diverse, and they're regional. They're even sometimes local. And therefore, we think that the regional boundaries and the local frameworks and the local opportunities and threats are the ones which you should really look at. Also looking on local strengths of stakeholders. And I don't go into details with that, because many stakeholders will play a role in implementing bioeconomy solutions on the ground. And therefore, we think one of the approach which we also working now in Jülich, but also now in Europe and also globally, is to build bioeconomy innovation regions. Why bioeconomy is the central narrative of transformation, but starting from the problem which is on the ground. At the same time, this approach on the implementation level, on the regional implementation level, obviously has to be built into a bigger picture of a governance on a global level, on national level, on the local and regional level. So this is what we talk about when we talk about nested approach. There's different scales which are integrated, and they play a different role. On the global governance level and probably also national, there's policy alignment, there's national and regional transformation process which we need to be guided from politics. But the local implementation, the regional implementation has some other rules, and we come to that hopefully during the today. If you look at the macro level, at a large scale, and this is a paper which we recently published from the International Advisory Council Global Bioeconomy, is looking back in who is doing which strategies, and you have seen this map several times, and there's a whole sequence of things which are happening, which are changing the perspective of strategies over the last years. And if you look into other literature, doesn't work. Into other literature, there is a kind of meta-level literature on what is the definition of bioeconomy. I just take this one because I think it's nice because it shows that there are different bioeconomies. That's not one bioeconomy. There's a bioeconomy which is focused on technology. There's a bioeconomy which is focused on the bioresources. There's a bioeconomy which is focused on the bioecological perspective, different of them. And if you look into the developments over time, this is over here, for example, this is year of publication of the strategies. The direction where the strategies go are changing, and there are many different strategies from all the different countries which are putting different emphasis on different parts of the bioeconomy where bioeconomy could deliver. And this is often confusing people because they're asking, what is bioeconomy about? You're talking about everything. And therefore, on the basis, on the level below that, we could ask, what are all these large-scale bioeconomy goals? And I don't read through them. It's from food to economic, ecological value. But on the ground, this is very specific in regions. This is different. If you talk about food security in Europe, you talk about different things compared here in Kenya. And therefore, the regional implementation is the implementation is very context dependent. And I think that's the target of our perspective, to say, let's do regionalization. So start from the region and build it up again to the implementation, which is linking obviously to the big goals as well. This doesn't work. Doesn't work. Just, can you click on? Another one. Just one more. Yeah. And one of the many discussions which we had also over the last 2 days was talking about innovation. And I'd like to make a distinction between an innovation which is mostly focusing on technology and another one where regions are the innovation basis. What do I mean with that? Technology innovations are not necessarily regionally bound. They can create new opportunities, they can be very widely used, they significantly generate new options. In regions, I can do innovative stuff for the region, which also has been done somewhere else. And part of the idea of today's meeting is that we learn from others where they generated innovation in their region and where we can use it in our region. So this is not a kind of technological innovation which is completely new and no one ever thought about it. This is really about bringing things down to the region and implementing. This is also about networking opportunity, value added within the region. All of these things are in there. And therefore, we think that the innovation regions in circular bioeconomy, bringing both together, helping also to the regions to implement, is very important. This is very complex. I skip that because otherwise Heike will kill me. Using a shortly excursion onto what is a region. There's a whole range of different regions. There's not a single definition what a region is. From our perspective, it's a region which has a cluster of activities in a certain geographical background, which has some homogeneity. They could also be overlapping. They are definitely not political boundaries. So there could be geographical connections, there could be markets, there could be human resources, a production unit. Now, for obviously natural resources will also be an option to define a region. So there's not a single definition of region. But what we should do, what we think from, and that's putting up a hypothesis also for today's workshop, we think that regions and region conditions determine pathways how a bioeconomy will deliver. It's an opportunity. It provides challenges and problems from the region which can be solved regionally and in collaboration with between regions, and implement tangible solutions, actionable things in the region. It will shape routes through regional and bioeconomy solutions to determine available dimensions for bioeconomy solutions, thereby reducing the white space which bioeconomy opens. And then the approach for that, I don't go into details because this is a way which we also want to discuss in the workshop. But it's an opportunity to break down the general concept of bioeconomy into something tangible in a certain context. Coming back to the overall, or to the nested approach, this means that we are defining, and you will see this later on in the workshop, and this is already the introduction into the workshop, we are defining 3 different levels. One is the macro level, which is a strategic framework for and global targets for bioeconomy implementation transition. The second one is the meso level. That would be a national, supra-local bioeconomy scale, bridging the macro level between here and the micro level of implementation. And the micro level would be the implementation on a local, on a regional and community level. This also means, that doesn't work. You switch on? Yeah. There's all these different scales talk to each other. They talk to each other from scale to scale, but also across scales. And this is also a thing which we should keep in mind during the workshop as well. And this means in the end, questions which we will ask during the workshop, which we'll organize the World Cafes around on the macro level. What are the success factors making the macro level impactful for implementation? Just having a strategy which is in a drawer definitely doesn't help. So how do you do that? Secondly, on the meso level, how is the meso level scales, how do they align with the macro scale, and how do they build into the local scale, the micro scale? And on the micro scale, we are trying to learn from you about best practice examples, about your experience, and about key success factors that is local implementation. And this implementation at a regional scale actually benefits to the local community and has impact for the bioeconomy. And with that, I would like to end. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Uli. We will come now to our first speaker, who is Dr. Martin Luang Wang Watanapong from Thailand. He is lecturer in bioprocess engineering in the Kasetsart University in Bangkok. And he will talk about sustainable cassava value chain in ASEAN. So welcome, Martin, and we are looking forward to your speech.
Thank you very much, Heike, for your kind introduction. So I'm Martin. That would be easier for you to call. So today I'll be talking about regionalization of bioeconomy, especially in Southeast Asia. So my slides hasn't coming up. Anyway, oh yes. So Warrington, I think you have seen her from the panelists before, that she talked about the BCG and also sustainable cassava, like very briefly. So I'm gonna expand a little bit more so that you know more about how sustainable cassava value chain works in ASEAN. Oh, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm sure that cassava has been in talk in this summit for so many times, and cassava is one of the main crop in Africa, and you can see from the statistics that actually the majority of the cassava production is actually in Africa. However, cassava is used to produce cassava starch, and the hotspot of the cassava starch is actually lies in Southeast Asia, where Thailand and Vietnam and the rest of the Southeast Asia account for about 90% of the global market on the cassava starch. So we really want to make this industry more sustainable. Like Warrington has worked in this industry for over 20 years. I've worked with her for almost 10 years. So is there any way that we can make this industry more sustainable? Next slide, please. So the thing is, the industry just carry on fine. Even we don't help them, it's still the top 90% of the export anyway. But because of the global issue, like climate change, like it has impact a lot of sectors within the cassava industry, from agriculture, where you get lower yield of the starch from the cassava roots, or because of the climate change, the way that you produce starch, how you use the energy in the starch will also affect the efficiency. So people in the industry, sometimes they lack knowledge about this and also lack equipment or lack incentives in order to make this industry more sustainable. So that's why our team, Sustainable Cassava Team, is trying to close these gaps. Next slide, please. So we established what we call ASEAN Cassava Center in 2021. by that time, we actually received the international funding from Mekong Institute with the Korean government, with the Chinese government, to help us establish ASEAN Cassava Center, where we work on the 3 key pillars, which are knowledge dissemination, technological innovation, and solution provision. We call them together as STACK. So solution, technology, and also knowledge. So how these 3 pillars work? These 3 pillars will help solve the issue at the core, which is the lack of knowledge. So people in the agriculture sector, in the starch production sector, waste treatment, or even biorefinery will have a fundamental knowledge to really understand how to work in the cassava industry. And then we, during our project, we create curriculum for all of these sectors so that people can be trained to know the fundamental knowledge and also be trained like a train the trainer so you can actually operate efficiently in your sectors. Next slide, please. Like has been said before, you know all about this, so we skip this. Next slide, please. This is the curriculum that we try to design. We have 4 trainings about cultivation, about starch production, and waste utilization to produce energy like biogas and also bioethanol. And also we try to use cassava waste to produce high value chemicals or high value products. And for each training, we do it from the get-go, from the ground level, from, for example, the cultivation, from understanding there's so many varieties, how to pick, how to select, how to do tissue culture or do stem cutting until the harvest. So that's is an example. Next slide, please. The way that we decide the curriculum is not just randomly just put curriculum in. We have a team of experts that help us, not only experts in their field, but also experts in the education. So we use the knowledge of the Bloom taxonomies that people who learn from our curriculum will be able to remember, to understand, and also be able to apply their knowledge into that field. Next slide, please. So this is our team. For the cultivation, we have a team from Kasetsat University, which is specialized in agriculture. We also have team from our neighboring country as well, Laos, the National Agriculture and Food Research Institute, and also SIET, who have been very kind in helping us formulating this curriculum. Next slide, please. For the cassava starch team, since we have been working in this industry for over 20 years. We have culminated knowledge for quite a while from biotech, from the university, KMUTT, and from JGC. Next slide, please. From the waste utilization as well, we have the team from biotech, from ERDI, which is the Energy Institute from Chiang Mai University. We also involved the president of Biogas Association in Thailand as well. Next slide, please. And also the last one is about ethanol production, also high value product production. We get the help from Biotech, KMUTT, FIRI from Vietnam, which is the Food Institute, and also from Novoscience. And I think they have changed their name, but we haven't changed it on the slides. So next slide, please. And like I said before that, we have the expert who's are the top lecturers and top academics in Thailand who really know about the education and how to design the curriculum so that the learner will actually achieve the Bloom taxonomies from memorizing, from understanding to applying. Next slide, please. And without the help of people in the region, this sustainable cassava team won't be possible. We really need to learn what they need and how to cater or how to adjust the curriculum so that it be suitable for people from each country. So our partners are from China, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, PDR, and also we have partners from throughout our country, Thailand. Next slide, please. And we have 4 curriculums already available. We also, not only the handbook, but also we also have the video training online as well. Next slide, please. And we do training. So we do training for the operators so that you understand the basic before you operate any sector, from agriculture, from staff production in your sector. We also do the trainer. So we train the supervisor, we train the factory manager so that they can solve the issue on site. So because sometimes we won't be able to be available to everywhere on the site. So we actually train a trainer so that trainer can help supervise the operator. Next slide, please. And not only the knowledge dissemination, as I told you that we have 3 pillars. So we have technological innovation and solution provision. So we do technology transfer from Thailand, where we culminate the knowledge and we transfer that technology and help them establish that technology in the region. So in Laos, PDR, and also Vietnam. Next slide, please. And we received the funding, for example, from GF UNIDO, that we established the ethanol distillation plant in Laos, PDR, and also Vietnam. And that was, I think, 5-6 years ago. And that pilot plant is still there and has been used regularly. And the thing is that the way when we establish those pilot plants, it can also be used for teaching. So the trainer that we train from our program can use that equipment, can use that pilot plant to train people in their country. So we don't have to keep on teaching or training every year, but the knowledge will be accumulated in that country and they can pass on that knowledge to their people in their own language, which is much easier for people in their region to understand. Next slide, please. The thing is that, why do we have to work as a region? Nowadays, the cassava starch, we have been facing many issues from the climate change, from the global warming, the yield of the starch in the cassava roots are low. The efficiency at the factory is not good. And the thing is that we export cassava starch everywhere, globally. And that cassava starch that we export is going to be restricted by the carbon footprint regulations. And if we don't adjust, if we don't adapt, we're not going to be able to make this industry sustainable. And Thailand alone cannot do this because we account for 90%. So we have to help each other by achieving this national cassava starch net zero. And not only be we trying to work together from agriculture, from starch production, it all needs science, all needs technology, all needs innovation to help the production of roots, the starch, to be more efficient and more sustainable. Next slide, please. So these are our community, sustainable cassava community right now. Thailand, Laos, PDR, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, and also we have Myanmar as well. So we have been in contact regularly even after the projects, and we continue to carry on other projects so that we can keep this community more sustainable and thrive in the future. Thank you so much. And if you're interested about sustainable cassava, please visit our website. I actually have a goodie bag to give everyone here today at the end of the session. So don't forget to grab one from me. Thank you so much.
For this impressive lecture. We'll come now to our third speaker, who will be online. Maybe you can switch him in.
Okay. As much as I said I love sharing the presentation, what I'm going to do is really the development background and the stock-taking recommendation. We started with this work around 2018. And some of the strategic objectives, and also looking at the implementation and some of the sectors that have been already been involved in some of the areas like rural sector, which is some of the Caryobirae species from the regional perspective. As I said, we started with this. I think the previous speaker said, why do we need to have a bioeconomy strategy? That should be the first question. And from us, that question really came from the regional, from our national, regional perspective, not regional beyond Namibia. And some of the recommendation why we have been taking a stock-taking report was really looking at communities and different regions on what do we really want to achieve in terms of the strategy once it was start to be implemented. And a lot was coming up with research must focus on improving socioeconomic status and also empowering women and marginalized communities and competitive source of productive input and maintain access to premium export markets. Those are some of the activities. But because this is a multi-sectoral approach in terms of the implementation, again, the development started from that background of really including a lot of government agencies and private sectors. You see a lot of acronyms. That's our ministry, Ministry of Higher Education, the National Commission for Research, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Environment, Minister of Trade, Environment, Investment Fund, and Namibian Water Corporation among the sectors that have been more of the key coordinating sectors toward the development strategy. As I said, we started around 2019, and then the strategy was launched this year in 2024 with that time frame period in terms of the implementation. And we want to really have a bioeconomy is looking at a vibrant bioeconomy that drive innovation and conservation, sustainable utilization of biological resources. With those, a lot that have been also the previous speaker have highlighted in terms of what cassava is doing, for example, in their countries. But for us, we look at value addition and employment creation, which is, I think, a key focus and a heart for most of the African countries, especially the Eastern bioeconomy. Probably will be hearing a lot, much more from the Nairobi activities that is happening now. And environmental sustainability, and the other one is really to create awareness and promote bioeconomy activities in different sectors. As much as we want to do this, and everyone is also saying this is a lot of work. Everyone ask what is the difference? A lot of creating of awareness and promoting bioeconomy activity in different sectors will be playing a major role in the implementation of this strategy. And I'll be skipping a couple of them, but I think it's very important now at this moment to highlight that in terms of really creating awareness, I want to promote innovative indigenous product and service for sustainable food system, better health and nutrition in communal areas. We realize that there are really a lot of indigenous plants or local plants, and that can be, value addition can be added. I'm going to highlight much more, especially on the diverse claw, which is a second picture that that have much made progress and also more of fruit from our sector that makes. But then the communities really need to have this awareness in terms of understanding of the values, but also acknowledge the existing local knowledge and preserving also the traditional values that have been attached to some of these indigenous products. I'll skip this just because of the time, but we really also want to have a lot of research and development taking place from the health sectors. We learned from COVID that this really we could have, probably have used our local products that can, enhance or boost our nutrition and reduces, the COVID fatalities. Well, in terms of the implementation, we are in the middle of the implementation or the beginning of the implementation again, with our organization becoming the central sector in terms of the implementation. However, those ministries that I have also highlighted initially at the beginning, including private sectors, Yeah, look, like forming a small table, which is having every ministry or every agency have an appointed member that is looking at the implementation on what they are doing in terms of the programs, and also to improve the overall effectivity in terms of the bioeconomy activities, so that we ensure that the implementation thereof is taken on. As I have highlighted in terms of the regional activities, the Moro sector has been it's a local or a regional plant with different uses in different countries in the Southern African. But it's very important to highlight that this is a transitioning former sector, really looking at adding value in terms of those products, again, by also using existing local knowledge and also preserving, the traditional activities that are associated with it, while also taking into account really governance in terms of the sustainability components. Well, I think it's very important then a diverse color that I have highlighted. These are some of our regional, our indigenous communities that are doing harvesting of diverse crop in communities. But then it's also very important through awareness, creating of awareness, so that the communities understand how one can preserve and ensure sustainable harvesting of these resources. This product is for export, but what we have seen now, these sectors that are doing the exports, they are really informing communities, local communities. This is our son communities, and being taught on how, number one, to ensure sustainable harvesting, what to harvest and what not to harvest. And also, when you are adding value, then you see these are cutted slice products. We realize that they must also be taught how to, in terms of the quality, in terms of the harvesting, what to harvest and what not to harvest, in terms of the packaging, in terms of sorting. And this is the beginning of really informing or telling the communities what to harvest, and toward really sustainability, so that we can have a formal sector, including, again, one of the key activities also doing, surveys on existing products that we have. Again, you are going to hear a lot from the Eastern African communities in terms of the national bioeconomy. I know you are at the heart of it, of discussing. I'm not going to dive much more on that. But again, we have also starting with some of the projects implementation with the South African that have been in
Paulus, can you hear us? We can't hear you anymore.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, again, yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I think we have internet challenge, but I was saying that we have activities, project activities and bilateral with South Africa, but it will be very important then to have also the regional activities. As we know, regions have different challenges. It will be better to address them. I've seen a lot coming up example from Zimbabwe that they are also developing or in the process of developing the bioeconomy strategy. That would be a very good advantage of having more of a regional strategy from them. Lastly, I want just to highlight that within that region, then, for example, for myself, we really want to have aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals in terms of poverty alleviation and good health. And also we want to have environmental conservation for this bioeconomy strategy. As we are also mitigating, climate change. With that, I want to thank you very much, and I hope you got some of my vocals, and I'm trying to also see if you see me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paulus, and also for keeping the time for this valuable input. And sorry for waking you up so early in this morning. So hope you have some rest until the really day starts today. Thank you. We'll come now to our last speaker in the introductory lesson. This will be Dr. Hugo Chavaria. Since 2018, he's manager of the Hemisphere Program for Bioeconomy and Productive Development at the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation of Agriculture, the ICA. And he will give us an insight into the bioeconomy in Latin America. Welcome, Hugo.
Thank you, Heike, and thank you, Uli, for the invitation to be part of this conversation. I would like to make some reflections, a little overview about the situation of bioeconomy in Latin America, mainly in the macro level. This is my perspective. So, yeah. Did you find it? No. This one, the last one. No, this one. This one, yeah. Yeah, this one. Okay. Can I control the presentation from here? Okay. Okay. The first, I will focus on 3 messages. The first one is that, I don't know, from 10 years to this date, we are convinced about the potential of the bioeconomy to transform the agriculture, the agri-food system, and the rural territories. In the American, mainly because these 5 reasons, because bioeconomy can increase the efficiency and the sustainability of the production of the biomass, but not only of the production of the biomass, also in the use and industrialization of the biomass. Second, because bioeconomy produces transformation in the rural territories through that generation of new incomes, new jobs, whatever. The third one is because the adding value and the circularity. Number 4 is that because bioeconomy improves nutrition and health. And of course, the number five is because bioeconomy contributes with the sustainability, the decarbonization, and these kind of things. So we are convinced about that. Well, most of the countries in Latin America are convinced about that. And that's why bioeconomy right now is on the table on most of the discussion, or the regional discussion in the region. It's on the table in the meeting of ministries on science and technology, on agriculture, on environment. For example, right now here in the room, we are, I don't know, 4 or 5 members of the Latin American Bioeconomy Network. We are organizing around 24 events, seminars, workshops in the COP16. So bioeconomy is part of our agenda, is part of the political agenda. In fact, we went to the agri-food system summit in New York 2 years ago with the proposal that bioeconomy is our proposal to transform the agri-food system. So this is the first message. Bioeconomy right now is in the political agenda of the country. The second is that bioeconomy is a puzzle under construction. We have some important pieces. Our main pieces is the biodiversity, of course. This is our comparative advantage. We have 50% of the known biodiversity in all the world in only 15% of the territory. We have 8 of 15 of the most megadiverse countries. We have 20% of the total forest of the world. Biodiversity is our main comparative advantage for bioeconomy, and bioeconomy is biodiversity. So this is one of the pieces of the puzzle. And we have made important advances in other pieces. For example, in policies and regulation. Right now, we have 6 countries with national strategies totally dedicated to bioeconomy. Costa Rica, Colombia, Ecuador, Uruguay, Brazil. They have strategies totally dedicated to bioeconomy. They released the strategy, and yes, of course, they are having some problems with the implementation, but they have the strategies. This is important. Second, we have another countries that they don't have national strategies, but they have strategies for specific sectors for the bioeconomy. For example, Mexico. I don't know if you saw the message of the Secretary Verdaguer. They have a strategy for the agricultural sector in Mexico. It's the same in Argentina, the same in Brazil, the same, okay. And we have at least 18 countries with normatives and regulations for the main pathways of the bioeconomy on the region. Bioinputs, biotechnology, biofuels, biodiversity. So policies and regulation is an important piece of our puzzle. The next one is technologies and business. Since, I don't know, since the middle of the 90s, Argentina and Brazil, they were precursors in biotechnology, in biofuels, in these kind of things. And right now, there are a lot of countries using biotechnology, not only in agriculture, also in food, in cosmetics, in green chemistry, and we have business related with biotechnology using the biomass for other purposes. In biofuels, for example, the region produced 31% of the total of the ethanol of the world and 19% of the total biodiesel. So it's important that right now, the business related with bioeconomy in the region are so important. We have right now some new value chains related with bioeconomy in the Amazonian. Azaí, copoaçu, I don't know what is the name in English, castaña. Well, we have a lot of new value chains related with Amazonian regions. And of course, we have ecosystem services as value chains since 30 years ago. And the other piece of the puzzle that we don't have the same resources, infrastructure that, for example, has US or Europe or China or whatever. Yeah, but we have right now a little ecosystem related with research, development, incubation, acceleration, and scaling of innovations for bioeconomy. We have actors, important actors that are working on the region in these kind of things. So this is our situation. We have biodiversity as our main comparative advantage and some pieces of the puzzles. The message number 3 is that even though we have different bioeconomies, because our bioeconomies are totally different. The bioeconomy of Colombia is totally different than the bioeconomy in Argentina or Costa Rica, or of course, but most of the challenges are so similar. So we need to work together. And we need to work on synergies. And I don't know, since the last year, 18 months ago, something like that, right? We created the Latin American Bioeconomy Network. You can you can see I have some brochures about the network. In fact, Monica presented the network in the last plenary. We are working together between 60 institutions from the region on these 6 topics. It has been a little difficult to put all the pieces together, but to be honest, it has been incredible. The things that we have done, the results, the dynamic. To be honest, we are working on bioeconomy since 10 years ago, and in the last 2 years, the things has been totally different because of that. Working together, working on synergies is the difference. We are working right now on guiding principles for the bioeconomy. We are not trying to agree about one definition of the bioeconomy, but we are trying to define what is the principles that we want for our bioeconomies. We release the guiding principles for the bioeconomies in Latin America. We are working together on policies, strategies, and plans for bioeconomy. We are working together on metrics to measure the bioeconomy, to measure the linkages of the bioeconomy, and to measure the sustainability of the bioeconomy. This is so important. The number 4 is incubation and acceleration, scaling of bioeconomy innovation. The number 5 is science and technology. And the number 6 is this one, is we are trying to position the region in the main spaces of the bioeconomy. We are trying to be part of the discussion. We are trying to be part of the projects, of the collaboration agreements. So this is our mission. So this is the network. And well, this is a little brief of the bioeconomy in the region. Well, conclusion, we have a huge potential to use the bioeconomy as a paradigm for sustainable development. We have done important advance, but it is important to accelerate. We have common challenges, but no one can do it alone. We need to work together. Synergies, collaborations is the answer to accelerate.